So my name is Katie, and I I've never posted a video of myself on YouTube, but like most people on this planet, I do use YouTube, and I've come across videos about borderline personality disorder that have really inspired me. Um, I think it's a really beautiful thing for all of these women, especially, to be coming out and talking about their disorder. Um, I do have borderline personality disorder. I've never really researched extensively on it. I do know that, as mentioned by several people, by many people, there is a stigma attached to it, and then people think that we all kind of resemble Angelina Jolie from the movie Girl Interrupted. A lot of stereotypes and negativity and whatnot. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think borderline personality disorder just even isn't even really well known by many common people at this point. I did read somewhere that it was becoming more commonly diagnosed and that it's actually one of the most common personality disorders out there. It is becoming more recognized, but nonetheless, like, it's still not that recognized by a lot of people. Like, when I think about my group of friends, they don't even know what it is. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it's kind of just a fleeting comment, and it doesn't stick. People don't understand it, and in a way that kind of hurts, because if they understood that, then they would understand me better. But I guess that's also my own thing, because I chose to not, sit them down and tell them, look, this is what I have, because I don't want to base my identity off of this label, which is a big reason why I haven't really taken the time to fully describe what it is. But anyways, I'm kind of digressing. So I've been watching these videos, and I tend to look things up about borderline personality disorder when things are a little bit more difficult for me. I have been in recovery for a long time. I've seen therapists, but mostly I've done a lot of my own stuff and my own research, and a lot of, I would say, spiritual practices have really helped me to cross the threshold from mainly suffering to happy sometimes to somewhat balanced, but I can still dip pretty deeply into the shadow. I don't know, I just felt really compelled to make this video because I think that the more, people just make short videos describing what it is to them, the more people around the world can really relate, know that they're not alone. And that's really how I felt by these few videos of these women that I saw. It was really like, oh, right, I have this thing that's like so invisible yet so powerful, and I'm not alone. And it really made me feel a sense of inspiration and support, even though I don't know any of these people that have said it, And the thing with borderline personality disorder is, one of the things that still kind of affects me is that sort of amnesia. It's kind of like when our emotions are so intense that it is very difficult for us to step back and to see the bigger picture when we're experiencing emotion. So whether we're like an insane high or an insane low, we lose all sense of anything beyond that moment. So if I'm experiencing, like, if I'm really happy and confident, I forget that I was ever like in pain, I forget temporarily that I even have this issue until, of course, it comes crashing down, and before I know it, I'm in a downward spiral, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to find my way out. Like, I see no end to it. And so that's one of the many symptoms that I've experienced a lot of. I think it's called black and white thinking. So I think that example also applies to black and white thinking. And I guess that's what I'll choose to mainly talk about. So one of the ways in which I've actually began slowly to be able to deal with those emotional extremes is to become the neutral observer, which I'm sure is you know, it's a term that gets thrown around a lot, especially in the spiritual community if you're into spirituality, but it basically means learning to detach yourself from your emotion enough to not fully be engaging in it, whether it be, you know, fighting it because you don't want it to be there and repressing it, or completely, you know, diving into it and just dwelling in it with everything in you, whether it be positive or negative. Completely losing ourselves in an emotion is not healthy in and of itself. So, with the practice of daily meditation and allowing myself and mindful awareness, so basically kind of getting used to observing my thoughts and observing the emotional states that are running through my body, is easier for me now to just observe myself when I'm having a reaction, whether it be a positive reaction or a negative reaction, without losing my sense of identity, without losing myself in it. And what's very interesting is that the more that I practice, the more I actually have this core identity, which is sort of gluing all of these seemingly disjointed experiences together. Because one of the things with BPD is that because when we're in an emotion, we fully like get lost in that emotion, we have no core sense of identity. We have no like central self that can sort of carry us through these fluctuating emotions. You know, it's like we become the emotion. We lose all sense of self, all sense of stability. And I mean, without a sense of self, how can we, there is no sense of stability, there's no core. And so by learning to just neutrally observe and detach, which of course takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience and a lot of compassion, there is this sort of neutral, observant identity that begins to sort of carry me through all of these different emotional experiences. And it feels like as a result, there's a greater sense of stability that's emerging and again, gluing all of these instances together, and I feel more safe. So when I feel a really profound emptiness, which tends to happen, you know, if I've been around a lot of people and all of a sudden I'm alone, this is another common symptom of borderline. It's like a chronic emptiness, which has really caused a lot of difficulty in my life. Like it's kind of propelled me towards pleasure seeking, which is another symptom of BPD, where like I'm just trying to escape this really heavy emotion of emptiness inside of me. So I did drugs, irresponsible sex. Right now I'm kind of playing with binge eating in an extreme way. So that's what I've got going on at the moment. One of the things. Anyways, so I lost the point of what I was saying. What was I talking about? Memory loss is not a symptom of BPD. So when I'm experiencing that emptiness, instead of losing myself immediately in all of these stimulating behaviors in order to run from the pain, this observing identity actually makes the emotions that I'm feeling okay, because I know that it's not the totality of who I am, it's just a temporary experience. And so that's something that's really, really helped me a lot. So I recommend meditation all the time, really. Meditation it's becoming way more popular now. There's a whole like movement going on. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's not for nothing. Meditation is powerful, and it's a tool that is almost essential. It's essential. It's almost as essential as breathing if we want to remain sane and rational in this chaotic reality that we now live in, especially as people with BPD who have such extreme emotions. So meditate all day, every day. Anyways, that's just my opinion, of course. Whatever you choose is perfect for you. I'm just sharing, maybe I'll help somebody out there. And I think it's great, and I'd love to see more videos of, people putting themselves out there and sharing their story, because this is a real thing. And it feels good to know that I'm not alone, and I don't feel like such a freak, you know? So thank you for listening.